right. Episode 5. We're here. We're pumped. The bar graph of our listeners is just climbing. We're on top of the world right now. We
I
have
like the use of bar graph. That's great.
we have a guest coming on today, Sam Hiatt.
Yeah, we have our
She'll
first
be coming
guest.
she'll be coming on after our first 4 downs. Let's do it. Kevin Kelly time.
Kevin Kill time.
Elzer, how are you doing? Are you doing better than the Mariners?
Yeah, I mean, life's good. I got to be better than the Mariners because Kev, the Mariners are a mess.
It seems like
Uh,
we have this conversation every
I
week.
know. Oh, here, I think it's important. I'm gonna try and stay real even keeled this time because it's easy to feel like the sky's falling. Okay, so I did a little. I went back and looked. So we started. You kind of started this adventure bringing Seatown Sports back. I had Wait for It Seattle. We merged our uh our awesomeness together. And it was on May 27th. We had a column where we said, "Are they any good?" And the Mariners, you said they were good. I said they were not. At that time, they were 28 and 26. That was on May 27th. They're 52 and 46 right now. So they've actually been 24 and 20 since then. Which if you would have asked me on that date, I would have been like, I'll take it. Right?
Were they in
They're
first place at that point? I can't
They
remember.
were
Okay.
barely, and the division was terrible, right? The Astros are on fire. The Mariners are still in first place going into the All-Star break by one game. So, in some ways, it's like, is it that bad? They had a bad month. They basically had a bad month. They went from a 224 batting average on May 27th to 219 now. Like, whatever. Both are bad. Their OBP actually went up.
They're
Amazing.
getting on base more.
Yeah, they do have over 1,000 strikeouts on the year, which is absolutely unbelievable. And their pitching has improved since May 27th, and it was already good. So that's a long answer of saying I can be subject to the moment and feel like today's game where Austin Voth again blew it. Logan Gilbert should have pitched the eighth. Whatever we want to go, whatever narrative they can't score, and the reality is they're in first place. They're 52 and 46. It's the fifth most wins this team has ever had before the All-Star break. And maybe we should be hopeful.
Yes. Yes. Although we'll find out really quickly if this team is a seller or buyer
Yeah.
after the break when they face the Astros for 3 games. So
Yeah, if
even
they
if they get swept though, that
yep.
means the Astros are only 2 games up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll feel like the end. It won't be, but it'll feel like the end.
I
If
mean
they
it's in
lose 2 out of 3, they're only, they're one down, right? Or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. The last thing I'll end with it is this.
No, they'd be tied
The,
actually.
the Mariners fan base, like the things that are being said. We had a mailbag
Yeah.
question that came in that said, should they fire their manager?
Yeah.
Like, in what world? I mean, this has happened before where an NBA team has fired a coach after they've been in the NBA finals. But in what world do you have a Mariners manager where our fan base is holding them so accountable that the team is in first place and we're considering firing the manager? Insane. That's first down. Let's go to
That's
second
true.
down.
All right, second down, Kev. A little bit out of the Seattle realm, the state of United States soccer. So here's the context. Um, it's actually gotten worse since I wrote this to you. So Greg Berhalter got fired, which a lot of people wanted for the U.S. men's national team. Jesse Marsh, who's the Canadian coach, said no way would he coach the U.S. He's happy where he is. Now, part of that is apparently he was offered the job and then someone pulled the plug on that last time. So he's a little bitter, which I understand. Jurgen Klopp, people are excited about, international coach, and just rumors, no interest. And then Uruguay's coach Marcelo Bielsa slammed Copa America in the United States for poor facilities, poor security, and poor fields.
He did
Here's
this
where
in like an interview.
in a press conference he
He
just
was
went
just
off.
ready to rip the
Yeah, and
US.
people are applauding him. Like most people don't say anything because FIFA's like the capital in the Hunger Games or something. Like they're scary, and it got worse today. So in the Copa America final, it started an hour and a half late because people were flooding the gates to come in unticketed, and they couldn't stop them. And so they had to like push everybody out of the stadium. And then I've seen clips on Twitter, X, sorry, Elon, of people climbing in through like the air ducts, like doing all kinds of stuff, climbing walls to get in the stadium. People are going to their seats and their seats aren't there, and the security's like, sorry, because people are in there. They're trying to kick people out of the stadium. It's a mess. And this
And
is
what
happening.
stadium was this at? Do you know?
This is it's a good question. It's happening right now, Argentina and Colombia, and it is at Hard Rock Stadium in Florida, so where the Miami Dolphins play.
Well, that's Florida. We keep politics
Oh,
out of this, but
oh
there's lots of
snap.
things that are wrong with Florida. I'd like to think in other states they'd be
Well,
able to hold their
it's
stuff
been an
together.
issue. The question is it the organizers, who is not the United States? Is it the US security? Like, who's to blame? And the bigger picture is, should we be nervous about the World Cup in 2026 in the United States?
Fire up we're the World Cup. We're not even, what is that, 2028,
Yeah.
right?
2026. I just said it, Kev.
2026. Okay, so
It's a year and a half away. This is
two,
the talking point of US soccer right now is two, like one, who is
we
the
need a
US
coach.
we need a coach for the men, and the men are not good. The women have a great new coach, we hope, and
Yeah.
are about to head to the Olympics. We'll talk about the Olympics next week and talk about US women's soccer.
Oh man. Yeah,
Um,
this is not good.
no, this is bad.
And they
Like
don't
this
have
is
any studs on this team.
yeah.
I
And
mean,
and
besides what's his face.
the World Cup's gonna be
Yeah.
in Seattle. And like, are we ready to handle the crowds that we're gonna get in this kind of environment? And I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes people nervous. I think it could be a good thing because it could be like, we can't have this happen, right? And so there's going to be extra security and extra precautions, and it'll be a well-run event. That's my guess, is that Copa showed the US what they need to do to host the World Cup.
Well, I love the idea of you climbing through the air ducts with your family to get into Citrus.
Dog, I might have to. Like, I was gonna ask you, do you think I'll be able to go? Like,
She's
I
gotta
don't think I'll
climb.
be able to afford it. Like, all I want to do is buy a Taylor Swift ticket, and I looked at
Yeah.
Vancouver, and it's $2,300 on SeatGeek. Can't
Yeah.
go. Like, it's
Air
not a
ducts, man.
good decision.
Air
So Air
ducts.
Ducks, but I think you have a better chance of getting the World Cup than a Taylor Swift concert. Like, Travis Kelsey's gonna
Yeah.
jump down with Jason and just body slam me. I'm not ready for that.
Uh,
I never played high school football. I'm
uh,
scared.
third down, second down,
No,
third
third down,
down.
third down.
Seattle Storm. I watched the game today. Did you? You're probably watching the Mariners.
No, I once the Mariners blew it, I watched the Storm.
Um, you wrote a nice little piece this past week about, are they good enough to win a championship?
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. My
And
mom also liked the piece. So
oh,
great,
great!
thanks.
I loved it. I
Oh,
loved it. It
thanks,
was a
thanks,
great framing of the
thanks. I
issue.
wrote that right before I actually went and watched them play the Las Vegas Aces
And it was an
live.
afternoon game,
It
wasn't it?
was. It was
It
Kids Day.
must be
Uh,
nice to just be on summer break and just be able to go to afternoon Seattle Storm games.
Have to me it was Teacher Day, and my buddy who's not a teacher who I went with, one of our 15, and but it was Kids Day, and there were some awkward moments. I was waiting for someone in the concourse, and like a mom like said hi, as if like, are you okay? Like, why would a single man be at Kids Day? Basically, I'm like, I just like basketball. Like,
Yeah,
I like basketball. We got great seats. We saw Aja Wilson signing for all kinds of people. It was awesome. She had her first 2020 ever,
she's a
which,
beast. She's
yeah.
an absolute menace.
And the Las Vegas Aces are currently the 3 seed. Minnesota Lynx are the 4 seed. Connecticut, the 2 seed. New York Liberty, the 1 seed. This is part of what I wrote about.
The
Can
New
the
York
Storm?
Liberty, that record is insane.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, they have Brianna Stewart, who we know is amazing. They have Sabrina
Yeah,
Ionescu, who is
yeah.
awesome. They have Jonquil Jones in the center, and they have Courtney Vandersloot. Like, they're just loaded.
So no way the
Um,
Storm can beat them.
well, that's the question. Can the Storm
Yeah,
beat any of those 4 teams in a series?
they beat the
And
Lynx, but they were missing.
I
They
think
were
actually
missing.
the Lynx, even though the Storm have lost 3 times when Nafisa Collier is playing, one of the best players in the league, I think they're the best chance. Like, we're not beating the Aces in a 3-game series. We're not beating the Liberty. Maybe the Sun, but they're so physical and big. Uh, I don't know if the Storm can do it. I don't know if they can beat any of those teams in a series. So they kind of need to be like the 3 seed. And then the Liberty, the 1 seed. And then the Sun, the 2 seed. And then the Liberty, the 1 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 seed Now they play 11 of their 16 games against teams below them in the standings to finish the year. So maybe they will get the 3 seed. And if they get the 3 seed, they could maybe win the first round series and get some confidence. I don't know, but
I will say when I've watched them play like bad teams, they've taken care of the bad
totally,
teams, which
totally.
is a sign of a good team when they can do that and they just don't have these hiccups, like, where they play down at the same level.
Yep.
And it makes you wonder if this team, can continue to improve. I think we both agree that they're
Yep.
way better than they were at the start of the season.
Yep.
It looks like they have some type of identity. You alluded to that
Yep.
in your piece. So, uh, uh, it's just weird. I know that Super has been gone for a bit, but it dawned on me when I was watching today. It's like weird not to have her on the floor and think of the Storm in a different way, because
Yeah.
they were defined by how she played for the franchise's existence, basically.
Yeah.
Um,
And I mean, Jewel Lloyd is awesome, but Brianna Stewart is clearly, to me, she's top two, right? So it's AJ
yeah,
Wilson and Brianna Stewart. And Brianna Stewart was just a bucket getter when you needed it. It's just
yeah,
Jewel Lloyd she's a guard, and it's harder for a guard to get big buckets when you need it. And they just Vegas is loaded and New York's loaded. So I don't
yeah.
know. I mean, it'll be fun to see if they can turn, into something. I think the Olympic break will be fascinating. These teams are going to come back after a month off, and then what's their chemistry going to be like for all
Yeah.
these teams?
And shout
So
out to the rookies that aren't playing in the Olympics that finally get a break
yeah,
because they've basically been playing basketball since October of last year,
that's a good
straight
point.
through.
That was a good
And
point.
this is my thing. The last thing I'll say about Caitlin Clark is
Mm.
that maybe it's good that she didn't make the Olympic team because she needs a break.
Diana
She
Taurasi came back today,
Yeah,
so I think she'll be on the Olympic roster because she's been out, and there was little social media rumblings about would Caitlin Clark take her place. And Caitlin Clark played against the U.S. coach today, and they beat the Minnesota Lynx. The Fever did.
yeah,
So conspiracy theorists love to run with something there, but I agree. Caitlin Clark, go rest a little bit. Go get some rest.
yeah,
All right, fourth down, Kev. This week, fourth down is going to be our preview of our next
yeah.
Big Ten opponent for
And
the
it'll be
UW
quick.
football Huskies.
The Huskies are 4-0 at this point, so they've ripped off 3 non-conference wins. And then, according to our podcast last week, they take care of Northwestern at home.
That's right.
Their opponent for this week will be Rutgers.
Rutgers on the
Do you know
road
what
on a.
Rutgers is? Is Rutgers a location, a city? What is Rutgers?
It's the name of a college, Kev.
Yeah. Is that like a famous guy that had a lot of money and then they got named after?
Well, that's a great question. I actually don't know. I'll see if I can find it. But Rutgers is in New Jersey, and they will be playing this on a Friday night. Just FYI, so that'll be fun. I think it's on like ESPN or something, so that's great. Let me tell you what I've learned about Rutgers. Rutgers is better than Northwestern. I am worried about this game. They have a running back coming back whose name is Kyle Monongai. And Kyle Monongai, Kev, ran for 1,262 yards, 5.2 yards per carry last year. He was the top rusher in the Big Ten.
There were a lot of good running backs in the Big Ten last
They
year.
were. He had more yards than the guy from Michigan
Corn.
who
Yeah.
kicked our butt. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is good. And they have 3 or 4 starting offensive linemen, depending on what preview you read. I can't figure that part out. But they have returning offensive linemen. This was my favorite. I deep dove on some videos on Kyle. His mom
Oh
was in a
man.
video, and his mom said to Kyle, "Why do you always have to run through the pile?" And he said, "Mom, you have to run through the pile so at the end of the game, people are afraid to tackle you." I was like, "Oh man, Kyle Manon guy, he's a dude. He could catch out of the backfield. He's good." Um, Now, a couple things about Rutgers besides that. Their coach is Greg Schiano. He's been in the NFL. He's the all-time winningest coach at Rutgers. This is his second time he's back. He turned the program around twice, including going to a bowl game last year for the first time since 2014. They had a top 20 pass defense the year before. They return a bunch of defenders. So theoretically, They should also be good on defense. They can run the ball and they're good on defense. Um, the defense part is interesting because they lost a corner to the NFL. Um, so it depends. Like some previews will say, like, yeah, they'll be really good on D. Some are like, we'll see how much it, really matters. They have a transfer from Florida State named Malcolm Ray they're excited about. They got some linebackers coming back who are pretty good. They do have a corner named Robert Longerbeam. Great name. Sounds like a whiskey. I'm gonna go drink some Robert Longerbeam. He had 10 passes defended last year. Like anyway, defense
They're
and running.
decent.
Yeah, no, like they're
Yeah.
they're projected to be like 6-6, 7-5, like around the Husky. I mean, I
Yeah.
think people think it's a hard game for them to play the Huskies, but it's a Friday in New
At
Jersey.
at Rutgers, a Friday.
Yeah,
So that destroys their week.
right.
That destroys the Huskies' week. They're
Yep.
probably, oh gosh,
Yep.
I don't know if they'll even get to practice in that week. And I think that is the key part there. I
Here's
mean,
the other
yeah,
hope for the Huskies. Ready? They have a quarterback transferred in. They're hoping their quarterback last year was not good. They're hoping this new transfer. His name is Ethan Kalakamanis. Butchered that. His nickname is the Greek Rifle. So the Greek Rifle came from Minnesota, and the Greek Rifle is ready to throw some bombs, I guess. But for the podcast and for you, Kev, because I'm a man of the people, I'm also a teacher on summer break. I watched a YouTube video of the spring game and every throw that the Greek Rifle had. And let me tell you, he's not good. I'm not a quarterback guru, but I have played college football and Madden. And the Greek Rifle should have a nickname like, I don't know, the Greek Euro. I don't know what he should
I
be,
love
but
this because someone's gonna find this podcast in that Rutgers program. They're gonna clip this clip of you just just crapping on this guy,
when
and
the
he's
Greek
gonna go
Rifle
off on us.
when
He's
the
gonna
Greek
go off on
Rifle
the
throws for 4 touchdowns on a Friday
and
night in
he's
September.
gonna he's like, yeah, we had bulletin board material.
Yeah, if
Um,
I'm if I'm the bulletin board material for the Greek Rifle, that's awesome. Good for you, buddy. Um,
I will say the Huskies have a 2-game win streak against Rutgers because they played
oh,
in 2016 and 2017, and this is the Huskies handled them. In 2016, 48-13 in Seattle. In 2017, 30-14 in New Jersey.
hmm.
I'm pulling up the box score. I'm interested to actually
Yeah,
see
who was actually playing? I don't think
who's
Greg Schiano was their coach. I think that's when he was gone, but I'm not totally sure about that.
and UW was ranked number 8. So 2017, that was a Chris Peterson.
Who's the quarterback then?
Browning 17 for 30,
Oh,
284 yards. I mean,
yeah,
it
this
was
is the time when Schiano wasn't there when they were
yeah,
bad. They were bad again. He's
yeah.
back and they're much better and they were a team on the rise last year for sure. And people actually like some independent Big Ten rankings that I saw that are not kind of West Coast have Rutgers ahead of UW as like power ranked in the conference. So that'll be interesting.
It'll be
This
a
will be
good
the
game.
first. Yeah, I mean Northwestern will be a test. I think it'll be new. It'll be different. Wazoo will be a test in its own way. It's going to be weird at Lumen Field, but like if they truly are 4-0, this will be really interesting.
Are
And
they going to win?
I'm going to say no. Like I don't know.
Oh,
Like Kev,
Rutgers is the first loss.
you're going to be higher on UW this year. I just have too many
Yeah,
questions. Like
yeah.
I want to see Will Rogers in a couple like big games before I dive all the way in. I just don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will say I'm less bullish on this game after hearing this preview. But more importantly, I looked up Rutgers and why
Yeah.
it's called Rutgers.
Yep.
It's named after Colonel Henry Rutgers.
Okay.
Colonel Henry Rutgers.
What do we know about Colonel Henry Rutgers?
Henry Rutgers was a United States Revolutionary War hero.
And
And
you're saying I should know this because I taught you in US history?
yes. And of course, he was a philanthropist. He donated money. That's how they got that's how it's named after him.
Yeah, he graduated from King's College. Isn't that where Hamilton graduated from? And I
Yep.
just remember that from the musical. Kevin, you gonna fly out to New Jersey for this game?
Um, is it in October or September?
It's late September. You could go also catch a Gotham FC game and see Sam Hiatt, who was our next
Yes.
guest.
Yes, that sounds great.
All right, so
Uh,
that's Kevin's plan. We're gonna hear from one of my other former students, Sam Hiatt. She does a great interview. It's awesome. I think you'll really enjoy it, and we appreciate everybody listening. Enjoy Sam Hiatt. All right, the 2016 Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Washington, a U20 U.S. World Cup captain, two-time national champion from Stanford, two-time All-American, third-round draft pick for the OL Reign, now the Seattle Reign, and now playing for Gotham FC, and a co-owner of the new USL2 Ballard FC women's team. We welcome Sam Hiatt to the podcast. Sam, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you, Mr. Elsner, for the embarrassing intro as promised.
I should have put in the intro, since you already alluded to it, that I also taught you, which is hence why you call me Mr. Elsner still.
and how
So,
long ago was that?
Sam was a sophomore when I taught her, I believe. So that would have been in 2014. So 10 years ago, actually. Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to suffer through that class.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Kev.
Yes, I napped through that class and I ended up being a history major and I graduated and I turned out fine. And so did you.
Yep.
So
Success stories. Success stories.
It worked out for us.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Sam, aside from me teaching you, we wanted to jump quickly into Ballard FC. It's really exciting that there's a men's Ballard FC that plays in the USL2 along with other local teams, including where I live. West Seattle now has a team. The women have a USL2 league, and the Northwest Division has got some teams in Oregon and a couple teams in Washington, and now adds Ballard. You're joining some other people like Lou Barnes and Olivia Vandriot and the owner of Rough and Tumble. So how did you get engaged and involved in this?
Yeah, so Jen, the owner of Rough and Tumble, was the first person to kind of reach out to me about this and kind of explain what was going on and say, hey, is this something you want to be a part of? Obviously, some of my friends and now former teammates, but at the time, current teammates were also in the conversation. So honestly, as soon as I heard about it, I think Jen gave me a very brief overview at the beginning, like a short little text or something like that. And then it was like, oh, do you have any more questions? And I was like, well, already, yes, I do have some questions, but yes, I actually don't need more information. I know this is something I want to be a part of, but I probably should get some more details. So right from the start, when I heard about it, it was something I was super excited to be a part of.
So why do you think it's so important to be a part of something like, obviously you play in the NWSL, you're drafted in the NWSL, you've played a high level of college soccer as well and professional soccer. Why is it important to support sort of, I guess it is the second division of professional soccer?
Yeah, so I think two things stuck out to me about this opportunity. First of all, just as a local Seattle player, like a girl who grew up playing on these fields, playing in these stadiums, to have the opportunity to be a part of bringing another women's team, basically another avenue for women to play either post-college or during college, another pro, semi-pro opportunity was something that really excited me. And I also just think that having been on the flip side as a player in a professional league, I have seen the growth and what investment can do as a player on the other side. Even just, I've been in the league for 5 years now, and I think back to my rookie year to this year, like how far we've come is pretty impressive. And it's great. We have a long ways to go still, but it's pretty cool seeing how much things have changed and how we've grown and the strides that have been made, partially because of the investment and the way that people are investing in women's sports in general and specifically women's soccer. So I think it's just important to continue to do that and to be able to turn around and do that specifically in Seattle and in the place where I grew up playing soccer was so special to me.
Was this on your, I'm sure you've set a lot of goals as an athlete and as a person. But was this on your bucket list? Like, check, own a local soccer team.
It's so funny. I was just telling someone if I had known this was an opportunity, it absolutely would have been. But I think if I told younger me 10, 15 years ago, or when I was, in Mr. Elsner's class, like, hey, you're going to be a part owner of a women's soccer team or a club here in Seattle in however many years, I would be very excited, but kind of like, oh, okay, didn't know that was a possibility. So it's like a dream coming true that I didn't know was an option. But if I had known about it, it absolutely would have been. So I think, yeah, younger me would be freaking out knowing, one, that I played for the Reign and got drafted there, and two, now get to be a part of an ownership group for a women's club or just a soccer club in general in Seattle.
So we wanted to ask you a little more about your background. We've noticed that you've been very intentional about celebrating your background as a Filipino in professional soccer. And I'm Filipino, and it's not something where pro athletes, we don't see a lot of representation in American sports. And when we do, it's a very exciting thing. So can you tell us more about why you feel it's so important to share that, one, you are a Filipino playing soccer, and two, what that means to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to be a role model and show young Filipino girls, just young Asian girls, Asian American girls, be like what they can be, because I always think of myself as being very lucky because I grew up with a built-in Filipino role model, because my mom actually played soccer in college at Santa Clara, and she also played post-college in Seattle on like an adult league team. And so I grew up with, like, I just remember going to her games when I was really young, like doing cartwheels on the sidelines, watching her play and being like, I want to do that. Like, I want to play in college and I want to play after college. So I think I'm an example of someone who, like, I benefited from, and I understand like the power of seeing someone who looks like you doing something that you want to do and know, like, okay, I can do that. And so now to have the opportunity to be that person for someone else is such an honor and such a privilege, and something I'm proud of too, because again, if there are young Asian American, young Filipino girls who are like, hey, like, I want to play soccer professionally, especially again, like in the Seattle area, but truly anywhere. I just think it's great that between myself and there actually are a couple other Filipina players in the league, I think it's just awesome that they have role models or people they can aspire to be who look like them.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Sam. Thinking about, I gave you this intro with all these different teams you've played on, and we're going to take this year's team out of it so it's not awkward for you. What is the best team you've ever played on? You can define that however you want.
I think the years that I was at Stanford were really special. A lot of those players are now on the national team, and I think that the culture and environment that we had there was very special. And I think a lot of those relationships I will carry with me for the rest of my life. And I think the culture was really strong, like the standard of excellence and the competitiveness and all those types of things, I think set me up so well for the pro career, for the pro life. But I do think I grew the most with the Reign. So I think that transition and just having to all of a sudden be playing with professionals, even after being at arguably one of the best places to prepare myself, was definitely still such a learning experience. And so I think, I don't know, it's hard to say because, like you said, you can define best in different ways. But I think maybe the strongest culture I was a part of was at Stanford and the group of players that we had there. But then I think the place where I've grown the most as a person and a player was once I became a professional with the Reign.
At what point, when you were at Stanford, did it become a reality that, oh, I might be able to play this game professionally? Because I'm not sure I think we all can agree that the NWSL isn't where it was when you were in college. But at what point was there a moment in time where it was like, oh, I could actually be doing this for a living?
I mean, I think I came in at a good time where the league was, maybe it's not what it is now, but it was pretty established. And I remember there were definitely, like when I was a freshman, or even when I was a senior in high school going into college, there were already Stanford girls who were going into the NWSL. And so I don't know if there was a specific moment, but it's definitely has always been a goal of mine. And I think going to Stanford in particular kind of just cemented that for me. It wasn't really, I guess, it was never in doubt in my mind. I was just confident that I could do it. I didn't know what it would look like. I didn't know what team I was going to be on. Obviously, I am so incredibly lucky that I was able to be drafted to my hometown team and have an ideal situation with that. But I don't know. I think I just had set that goal for myself and I intended to set out and do it. And I think I just put myself in the best position by going to Stanford. And again, I had people who were 1, 2, 3, 4 years older than me who were able to go and play in the league, which definitely gave me confidence that, like, okay, so I've been playing with them and they're telling me that it's hard. They are telling me it's an adjustment and that I'm gonna have to grow and get quicker, stronger, faster, play smarter, all these things. But I was like, okay, I can do it. So I think that definitely helped give me the confidence, but I wouldn't say there was a specific moment because I think that was just something I always, set out to achieve for myself.
So you're with Gotham now. What was the transition wise? What was the hardest thing moving across the country for you, or was it not hard at all?
There were definitely, well, the logistics of the one corner of the country to the other was definitely a lot. But I will say I had asked to be traded. So I had kind of known like my apartment was, as packed as it could be. And I think the logistics were the logistics. That was fine. I expected that. I think it was just difficult in general because I did have such a strong group in Seattle after being there for 4 years, making, like lifelong friendships with my teammates. And so I think it was difficult in some ways leaving that behind because I just knew like going somewhere else, it wouldn't be the same right away. And ultimately that's what I wanted. I wanted something different. But I think just the change when it's, you're living in a new place, it's a new coach, new coaching staff, new style of play, meeting new people, making new friends, exploring a new city, all of which are like good things. And I can tell I've grown so much as a person in these past couple months by going through it. And I'm enjoying all the growing pains that are coming with it. It definitely was, a lot. Like I think I was so tired in the first couple weeks and months just because my brain was firing on all cylinders more so than it had to have been when I was, in my comfort zone with people I knew and a system I knew, place I knew. So I think I guess just getting used to all the news, both on the field and off the field, I think was a challenge, but not in a bad way. I kind of knew what I was signing up for in that regard, and I embraced it. But I definitely took a lot of naps in the beginning in preseason.
Well, Sam, now that you're over on the other coast, what's the best part about living in the New York area?
Um, they were not, people were not lying about the bagels. They are really good over here.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that. And so I technically live in New Jersey, but
Okay.
it's really easy to get into New York. And so I do love like the proximity to go into to the city, be able to do things there, because obviously that is just a whole nother world that
Yeah.
has so much to offer. So bagels and proximity to New York, that's a lot of what New Jersey has going for it. And I'm a big fan of both.
Nice. Do you find yourself a person who likes I mean, New York's really crowded when you go to New York. When I visited New York, it was like a different world than I had grown up with in Seattle, right? Like, do you like that? Do you get just small doses of it and that's enough for you? Like,
I think it would be a lot if I were to live
yeah.
in the city. And even I just had some friends visit me and I took them in there and they were kind of like, whoa, like this is a lot on all levels. But I think since I live more out in, it's a little slower in New Jersey, especially where I live in a good way, I
Yeah.
think, manageable doses, I would say for sure. Cause it is, again, it's a lot, which can be good, but can also be tiring. So I think I have the perfect amount of I can stay, you know, near my apartment or in New Jersey
Yeah.
when I want to keep it chill, or if we do want to go to an event or go do something, go to a game in the city, that's accessible as well.
Nice. Sam, you and I talked, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago now, You had talked about kind of how the living situation when you played for the Reign had improved, kind of when they were down in Tacoma playing at Cheney Stadium, and you liked where you lived. And it just made me think about, you think about people just listening to a professional athlete, like what's a perk you have as a professional athlete in the NWSL that people wouldn't know about? And I don't know what that is. That's why I'm asking, but like, what would be a perk?
A perk. I think I think our schedule is a little bit of a double-edged sword. I think it can be a major perk because we'll have a random Tuesday off. So like you can go do things and kind of, I don't know, like it'll be like off hours if you have to go run errands or things like that. Or we'll have randomly a couple days off where maybe if you work a typical job, you can't just go on a little mini vacation in the middle of your work year or work week. But then at the same time, so we'll be able to take little trips because we have a couple of days off every now and then, which I know like I'm able to travel a good amount and go to amazing places. But on the flip side of that is that basically from January, end of January to November, assuming your team makes playoffs, depending how far you go, you're at the same time very much locked up. So then even on the weekends, we're especially busy. So if you're trying to see people who do work conventional hours, it's like, oh, I'm free on Tuesday and you're free on Saturday, and that's actually when I have a game and you're working on on the weekdays. So I think our schedule can be a blessing, but also, like I said, a little bit of a curse. And honestly, at least for me, one of the perks I think has been being able to meet so many cool people. Like I have friends now who live in, like I visited friends in Brazil and Costa Rica and London because I've been able to meet people who come from quite literally all over the world. So I think that's something that I've really enjoyed and been really blessed by that maybe people wouldn't, it's not the first thing you think of when you think of, professional athlete life.
Yeah, and especially since you were playing sports in college, you maybe didn't have that same international travel experience or like the study abroad thing. And that's a lot that I hear from athletes like, oh, I wish I would have studied abroad, never got the chance, unless your team did do the travel, but it's just not the same as maybe some of your peers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the league itself and where it's going. Franchises in the news, they have valuations of how much they're being sold for. They're being sold for record amounts. Attendance is up. I'm a Bay FC season ticket holder. The games are packed, more so than the men's team. Um,
They've done a really good job. I love that stadium. That's where
yeah,
we played our like my senior year. Our championship was at that field, so
yeah,
our fond memories. But like the fans do such a good job there too. Like it's so loud, and I
yeah.
would rather play a loud stadium with away team fans than a quiet stadium any day.
Yeah. Yeah. The buzz is great around the team. And obviously, your mom was at Santa Clara. So you're familiar with the area and the passion for women's soccer. Um, I mean, things seem to be going well for the NWSL, right? So I guess when you first started, you've been in the league now, it's your fifth season, or am I getting that right? Okay. So
Yeah,
it's
this is
your
my
fifth season from when you started to
Mhm.
where the league is now.
Mhm.
What's one tangible thing that's just so much better?
Um, I think for the league as a whole, I think that in like the engagement, like the amount of fans we're getting, the streams, like I think just way more people are watching, which is great. But I think as a player, one thing that's very noticeable for us is the fields have gotten better. So my first year, we were playing on a converted baseball field, which is just not ideal. There are actually two baseball fields my first 2 years in the league, and we finally got rid of both of those. Or those teams moved to different stadiums. So I think there's definitely been major strides. Most teams now have, quality surface for games and either quality training facilities or are taking steps to improve the training facilities because I think those are the things that maybe aren't as outwardly advertised in things that either need to be improved or have been improved, but in terms of things that really affect our lives. Like we always used to know the fields that you didn't want to play on are the fields where you wake up the next day and you're like, wow, I'm too young to have my back feel like this. Like I'm should not be making like feeling like this after playing one single game on a turf field or on a baseball field or something like that. So we've definitely made improvements in terms of facilities. But again, it kind of varies by team to team as well, because I do think there are still some teams or clubs where it's like maybe they have a good game field, but still need to work on their training situation, or even some of the new teams coming in where it's like, okay, again, we as players are, maybe everyone's talking about where the stadiums are going to be, but the players are like, where are they going to train? What's that going to look like? So those are the ones people see, the big numbers and the attendance and stuff like that, but I'm really happy about the fields and the lack of baseball fields, for example.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think it's good for people to hear kind of the inside player view there, because the numbers we see, as you said, is the attendance and the valuations of these teams getting sold, and hopefully the investment, similar to the Seattle Storm here, who built this great practice facility in Interbay. The investment continues for players in the NWSL. This is a personal question a little bit, Sam. So my younger son, Felix, is playing Premier Soccer. And which is cool, but he's 11 and he's kind of in this in-between period of like, they practice a couple days a week, they play in tournaments, but it's not too intense. I wonder if, when you look back, do you have any regrets about playing the amount of youth soccer you play? You know what I mean? Like you had to play soccer all the time, right? And I have friends whose kids, like, that's what they do. And it's becoming, specialization in sports is not just soccer now. My son has friends who play baseball year round. That's what they do. Basketball is becoming more and more year round. Do you have any regrets about that much soccer? I know it's kind of a weird question, but
No, I don't. It's not a weird question. I think for me, I don't have any regrets because I always loved soccer so much that I had a very brief ballet career. It was not for me genetically, physically. And then I played basketball for a couple of years, but I always knew, like, as soon as it got to the age, I think it was high school where it started really conflicting with soccer practice. It was a no-brainer for me to, like, I was going to go all in with soccer. And I think that the common theme for a lot of my friends now, my teammates who are in the league, it is like the sacrifices that we had to make to get here. I think everyone, we may have lived in different states and different countries, but everyone kind of had the similar experience of, yeah, you kind of, lived and breathed soccer for a little bit. And maybe some people that started at a later age and different things like that. But I think for me, I never regretted it because I really did enjoy it so much and I loved it so much and I wanted to do it as much as I could and for as long as I could. So I guess it was kind of, yeah, it was nice to do other things. And I do think it was good and healthy to have other things going on. But once it got time to, kind of specialize and pick what I'm going to stick with, it was always going to be soccer for me.
It's I'm gonna give a quick shout out to another Seattle Prep alum, B. Franklin, who's now playing in the league. It is a rare occurrence, as you said, for somebody like B. When she was in high school, she played tennis, soccer, basketball, went to Notre Dame and then Arkansas for soccer, but in her senior year walked on to the women's basketball team at Arkansas, was in a jersey when she got drafted by the NWSL and had to go turn her jersey into Mike Neighbors and then go report to the Chicago Red Stars. So B is a rare exception to the rule of playing a lot of soccer when you're young, right? I think, as you said, most people, they start committing at 13, 14 years old, and that's what they're doing. That's good to hear. All right, Sam, we're going to do a speed round, okay? So these are going to be quick answers, some random things here. I'm going to start off with this. We alluded to this already. Both of your parents, shout out to Eric and Emily, both attended the Santa Clara University and played soccer there. Do you regret not playing for the greatest university in all the land, Sam?
I'm going to double down on my no regrets in terms of where I went to college. I had a great soccer experience. I had a great college soccer experience with Stanford and my freshman year at Boston College. It was an atypical route, I would say. But I would not change anything about how I did that. Sorry.
Kevin, that's okay. Kevin, real quick, when Sam was a sophomore, I basically tried to recruit her for Santa Clara along with her parents. I would talk to her parents and be like, we got to get her to Santa Clara. And they were kind of like, yeah, but she has to do her own path, but we would love it. But Sam was so clear to me as a 15-year-old. She's like, nope, I'm not going to follow. I want a different path. I grew up with it, and that was great. And I backed off. I was not a good booster for Santa Clara.
Well, fun fact, my father also went to Santa Clara, went there for a year, did not like it, transferred to UW. When it came time for me to go to college, everyone's like Gonzaga or Santa Clara, and I said no to both. I went to LMU, but uh, it, now I'm a Santa Clara basketball season ticket holder, so I go watch all the Santa Clara basketball games, and now I think I've brainwashed myself. Anyways, we're defeating the purpose of lightning round. We need to
This
go
is not a
faster.
lightning round. Okay, we'll go
Yeah.
faster.
Um,
What's your favorite memory playing at Seattle Prep?
Playing at Seattle Prep, favorite memory when we won state my senior year. That was pretty epic.
and who did you beat?
Oh
Ooh, they're
gosh.
so irrelevant. She does not even remember
I
who
won't
they.
lie, I can't remember. I
Was it
remember when we
Liberty?
lost.
Liberty, maybe?
Was it Liberty? Maybe.
Mm.
I really don't know.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I do not know. But that is my favorite memory. I remember that we won.
it was good.
Favorite class at Seattle Prep.
See, now this is gonna sound like I'm just really hyping up Mr. Elsner, but I really did like was E3, was that you and
Oh yeah.
Mr. Johnston?
Yeah, senior year. Shout out, senior seminar, Mr. Johnston.
I really enjoyed that. The three E's. Don't ask me about what they are, but I really enjoyed the class.
No
That
big
class
deal.
just got the biggest endorsement it will ever
It's
get.
gone. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. I've tried to get Mr. J to teach with me again. He won't. Maybe we'll get him to listen to this podcast for that shout out. Yeah, exactly. What's the best goal you've ever seen playing on a field?
Best goal. So like I was on the field or like at a
Yeah,
game.
it can be you were playing. It could be your team or the opponent.
When I was at Stanford, one of my best friends, Katerina Macario, juggled a ball. She like took it was like 3 juggles, I think. She like juggled it over someone and then volleyed it from outside of the 18. And it was like I think I've searched it up recently actually to show somebody else. It was one of the craziest goals I think I've ever witnessed, both either in the stands or on the field. I was actually 10 feet away, like on the field, probably jaw dropped before I went to go celebrate. So I think I had to say that one.
Best player you've ever played with.
Best player.
And this is with all the asterisks of like you're not offending anybody if you didn't pick them.
I think I was fortunate enough to be able to play with Megan Rapinoe for a little bit. And I just think like the intangibles, obviously like amazing player, like wicked service, like all like technical, all that, but she was so smart and she was so good at lifting up everyone around her. Like I was just a better player being on her team, just things that she either taught me in terms of like the tactical side of the game, or she just always knew what to say. Like if something happened, she was big on like eye contact, looking you in the eye, like, hey, we got your back. And so I just think all around as like a teammate and as a player, I think I would say Megan Rapinoe.
Another great teammate, former and present, Rose Lavelle. I saw on, I don't know if it was like TikTok or something, like the last World Cup, she took 8 books in her suitcase to the World Cup and like didn't pack clothes because she's a big book person. So transition, you're a teammate with her. What is a book you're reading right now you'd recommend, or a book you've read recently you'd recommend?
I'm trying to think. Funny story. I'm actually trying to get through a series that I don't think is very good right now, but I've committed. So what I'm currently reading is not great. I recently read, I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That's one of my 5-star reads. It's like just like a fun book. But I've read some really good memoirs that are a little more heavy, like The Sun Does Shine. That was another book I've read that was really powerful. It's definitely like, again, like a little bit of a heavier read, but I would say those are 2 or The Nightingale. Love The Nightingale, Kristen Hanna. That one made me cry. So again, a little bit heavier, but like it was so good and so beautifully written too.
Let me just pause and say this is the perfect answer for someone that went to Seattle Prep and then went to Stanford. We're interviewing you about soccer and we throw in a book question.
I take my book recs very seriously. I take my Goodreads reviews very seriously. So
Yes.
I was like, I'm gonna pause and think about this because I want to give good answers. Also, because the thing I'm currently reading is not good, but like I said, I've committed. So
Sam, we're gonna have to become friends on Goodreads after this. I love Goodreads. Just putting my 2 last books in there. Very excited. Yep.
amazing. Oh yeah, Goodreads is like another form of social media for me.
Yeah.
And it's a good amount of my current teammates and just people around the league who are on it too. It's kind of fun.
Nice. Okay, our last speed question. Who's the most famous person in your phone?
I'm pretty sure it's also Pino again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Kevin's is me, so that's good.
Don't even have to ask.
Yeah, George Carl actually is mine.
Oh, pretty good. I think Sam's in my top 5 for sure, but I think mine is PJ Carlesimo. I think that's
There you go. Another It checks
yeah,
out. Another basketball.
yeah. Both kids went to Seattle Prep. Taught Casey last year. All right, Sam. Here we go. Top 5 segment. So Kevin and I do this every week. We give each other the category, but we don't, obviously let the person look it up or whatever. So we're gonna go back to your rain days. We're gonna make it simple. I tried to look up like cards or clearances to see if you were in the top 5, but they don't really track that very well. So here's the top 5. Who are the top 5 players in Reign history, OL or Seattle, in terms of appearances? So like games played, basically. So I think you're going to be able to do this. You get 2 strikes, and you just name them, and we'll tell you if they're in the top 5.
Number 1 is Lou Barnes.
You got it.
Number 2 has to be Jess Fishlock.
Nailed it. Both over 200 appearances.
But I'm trying to think. Pino was there for a long time, but I don't know if she's in there for appearance.
Very warm.
Is Pino in there?
Yes, she's actually number 3.
Okay.
She's just come and gone a lot of times, and she's been injured different times, but she's at 132 appearances, which, by the way, Lauren Barnes is 238. So it's not close. Yeah.
Well, I think Lou leads the league, so
yeah,
I don't know if there's people who are much closer to her.
Yeah.
It's also funny because I just hit 50 this year, and everyone's like, "Wow, 50!" And I'm like thinking about the people above 200.
Yeah.
Like, wow. 50.
Sam, I looked you up to see like where you would be. I think you had 44 with the rain or something like that. Yeah. You're probably in the top 30 all time. It's pretty cool.
I'll take that. I will take that.
Yeah. All right, you got 2 more. You have no strikes so far.
But I was gonna say, but after the OGs, I'm trying to think who else has been. I was about to ask a question, but I guess that doesn't.
No, you can. You could do whatever you want. We'll roll with it.
Do they play on the team right now?
There is a player who plays on the team right now.
I'm trying to think. I feel like it's either Sophia Huerta or Quinny. I feel like for player right now. Because I'm trying to think who's gotten to the Reign before me. Unless it's Bethany Balser.
You got it. Oh, I let you talk your way into it. That's perfect. Yeah, Bethany Balser, 117 appearances now.
Yeah, okay. Bethany Balser.
What number was she? 4?
She's 5. So there's a 4, and I will give you a hint. It is not someone on the team now. It's an old school player. But she is relevant still to the NWSL. Right? Yes, you nailed it. Yes. Bev Yanez, is that how you say her last name? Yeah. She's the head coach at Louisville FC, and she has I think 129 appearances, so she's 4th all time for the Reign.
Wow, okay.
Sam, you killed it.
That was amazing.
Guys, I'm pretty proud of myself for that. Although, again, the 3 OGs, that was like a given. But I wasn't sure about the next 2. Wow, go on for Boats, because she's was drafted 1 year before me. Go on, Betty.
Yeah. Other ones I thought might be there. Kaylin Winters, who was like the captain original years. And then who was the other? McNabb, Quinn, obviously thought of, Huerta. But no, none of them are over 100. So you nailed it. That was amazing, Sam. That was the best performance we've had, which isn't saying a lot because we're not great. But
hey, I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. Hey, we appreciate you spending time with us, especially during the Copa final while Messi's playing.
Sam, any plugs? Any plugs for the team? Anything else for you that you want to plug in?
Not really. Go Ballard FC.
Yeah.
Specifically, well, the men's and the women's team, but all I can say right now is go Ballard FC. and watch women's sports, everybody. Go to games and watch women's sports.
Love it. Thank you, Sam. I
Thanks
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. We are back after hearing from Sam Hiatt and her top 5. She absolutely crushed it. Way better than us and way better than we're about to do because it's top 5 time. I feel like we need music. Like we need like a song, like a top 5 song. So if anybody's got any musical talents, we'll use it.
That's a great idea.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go first.
Go first.
All right, Mariners All-Stars, Kev. We got Mariners All-Stars. Andres Munoz just named to the All-Star team, joining his friend Logan Gilbert. I actually don't know if they're friends, but they're both pitchers. Here's the deal. I thought about our friend Munoz. Who knows if he'll ever be an All-Star again? First time. First time for Logan Gilbert. Here's my top 5 for you. And I will give you hints because it's not really fair. If you take career WAR, right? Wins above replacement. Okay. Top 5 players who've only been in one All-Star game for the Mariners by WAR as the metric. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, this is hard.
Well, it is hard. So
we're going to be high up, but they can only have made the game 1 year.
Yeah, you got to take some people out. You obviously can take out
Ichiro.
You can take out Ichiro.
Take out Cano. Take out Felix.
Yep. Griffey, take him out. Edgar, take him out. Right. Although Edgar, not that many times, but more than once.
Take out A-Rod. I think he's made it more than once.
Yep. Totally.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some hints because I think that's fair. We gave Sam some hints. We're going to give you some hints. Okay?
Wait. Let me just guess one right now. Jamie.
All right. Oh, nice job. Number 3. Yeah, Jamie.
All right. Let me try this again.
All right. 2003.
No, not Fernando Rodney. No, don't say.
He did make only one All-Star team.
Yeah, but he's not in the top 5.
Right.
Sasaki.
No, that's a good guess. He made 2 All-Star teams. Yeah. I have a Sasaki shirt that I wear all the time. Have I told you this?
No.
Yeah. I wear it 2 Mariners games. I wear it just around town. And every once in a while, people will just be like, Sasaki. I'm like, heck yeah. I also have a Ben Davis t-shirt jersey.
Yes.
And I just thought he was going to be amazing. And I think we need to talk about this one week where we do like what different sports, like who did we think would be a superstar? There's so many Mariners I thought were going to be a superstar. And Ben Davis was one of them. All right. You got 1 strike.
Okay, give me some hints.
Okay. So let's go easier ones first, okay? So there's somebody in the mid 2010s and he was a pretty long time Mariner. He only played for the Mariners. He's only made 1 All-Star team.
Only played for the Mariners.
Mm-hmm. He recently retired. Give you another hint.
It's not Nelson Cruz.
Nope.
He only played for the Mariners.
You're going to be mad if you don't get this.
Felix. No.
Only played for the Mariners. Recently retired.
Yeah, I don't know.
Made the All-Star team in the mid 2010s. I'll give you one more clue. He's lefty hitter. Once got really, really mad at Jared or Jeff Weaver on the mound. I don't remember which one.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
Number 15.
Still. No idea.
Third base.
Oh, Kyle Seager.
Thank you. Kyle Seager made 1 All-Star team, 4th in career WAR of 1-time All-Stars for the Mariners. We're gonna sort of give you a strike, but not really, because I want you to keep guessing. Okay. The 2001 team, they had 8 All-Stars. There was one-time All-Star. He's actually number 1 on this list. And there's probably more than 1 All-Star, but there's only one who's got a career WAR. This guy was really good. This guy was really good. Here's another hint. He never played in the minor leagues. You may not know that.
So, is it a pitcher or a hitter?
The hitter.
Okay, so
straight to the majors, not with the Mariners. Came to the Mariners later.
Not John Olerud. Not Brett Boone.
Try again.
So it's John Olerud.
John Olerud, yes.
Went straight from the Cougs to the Mariners.
To the Blue Jays, Kev.
To the Blue Jays.
This is embarrassing.
Well, to be fair, John Olerud started his career in the majors when I was born. So I'm trying here.
That is actually fair. I was in middle school, I think, because this would have been, he was on one of the championship teams for the Blue Jays, I believe.
92, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I
straight to the
thought.
majors. Such a stud.
John Allard. Okay.
All right.
So that
1995 team. There was a one-time All-Star. He's number 5 on this list.
Chris Bosio.
No, Tino Martinez, first baseman.
Tino.
And then I'm going to give you one more. 1987 pitcher. He was awesome.
Mark
but
Langston.
He's most famously in the Randy Johnson trade, even
There
though
you
he was
go.
awesome in himself. He's actually, his career WAR is 50, if you believe it. He was really good after he left the Mariners.
Mark Langston.
Not as good as Randy Johnson, though, so it was a good trade.
We're probably the only podcast in the world that mentioned Mark Langston today.
I mean, he's an Angels broadcaster, so
Yeah.
maybe Angels broadcaster podcast.
Yeah. All right. Top 5. I'm giving you no hints. If you can hit this,
I just
you
punched a
are.
lamp.
But
Ready.
I'll do the classic. I'll give you the scope is bigger than the actual 5. So in 2012, the Mariners had a combined no hitter.
Oh, yeah.
Can you name 5 of the
Oh,
pitchers?
come on. I can name the starters. Kevin Millwood.
Yeah, that's 1.
I'm going to guess Brandon League was one of the pitchers.
That's 2.
JJ Putz.
Nope.
I'm not going to be able to get any of the others. Are they real people? Like, who am I getting?
Yeah. You can get this.
Will I
Okay.
even know who their names
Okay,
are?
this guy's nickname is the Sheriff, I think.
Norm Charlton?
No, I don't know.
His nickname was the Sheriff. So
I'm getting my relievers mixed up
Oh,
because
boy.
you poisoned me with thinking of the 90s. Okay, I'll just give them to you.
What year is this?
2012.
2012. Who would have been the Tom Wilhelmsen?
Yes,
The
so
bartender.
You got the bartender.
The bartender. Very different. Sheriffs and bartenders have different jobs. All right, I got 3. I'm not going to be able to get any others.
All right. Stephen Pryor was the winning pitcher.
Great.
Query whether he's still in the majors or what happened to him.
Who knows?
Lucas Lucic.
Oh, yeah, he was a lefty.
Yeah.
Loogie. It's basically his name is Loogie.
And then this guy, Charlie Furbush.
I liked Charlie Furbush. I felt like he was going to be really good. I probably
More
could have got
importantly,
Furbush.
Jesus Montero was the catcher.
Oh, that's tragic. Stephen Pryor was terrible that year, by the way. A 5.27 ERA. How is he part of a no-hitter? What is happening? He only played for 3 years in the majors, all with Seattle. Kev, let me just tell you something. For the people, that was a horrific top 5 question.
I just wanted to add on. I mean, now you're going to hit me with a really hard one.
No, that's not my goal. My goal... Wow, it was only Stephen Pryor's 4th appearance when he was in that no-hitter. It's on his Wikipedia page. Oh, man.
It
doesn't say what he's doing now. He got released. Traded to the Twins for Kendrys Morales. Shout out Kendrys. I kind of liked him.
Yeah. So you think our lineup is bad right now? Let's end this podcast episode with this. Here's the starting lineup of the 2012 Mariners in this combined no-hitter victory. Ichiro, Ackley, Seager, Montero hitting cleanup, Justin Smoke, Michael Saunders, John Jaso, Mike Karp, and Muninori Kawasaki. That was the lineup. The Mariners are going to be in a much better position than this team sucked.
Mitch Garver's under 200. Jorge Polanco's under 200. Mitch Haniger's barely above 200. This lineup sucks, and we don't have to watch them until Friday. So peace out, Mariners, and peace out, Kev.
And that's that. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week.